So, love and light, everyone. We're going to be getting into a weekly prediction. So, let's go ahead and get started and subscribe. Let me know that I am loved, y'all. I really appreciate this. So, this is what's coming up in this upcoming week. So, this will give you kind of an idea of a general understanding. And so, we're going to first work with our manifesting cards, our love and light. And the first thing that comes up here is unbound. This huge shift of reality that's happening, and it's happening from the perspective of it needs to take a strong action, like a strong detour, a strong movement, a strong transition. So that's what's coming up here with this priestess card. And so these cards are really giving us a perspective of what you're going to be moving on. Transformation. Look, let me tell you something. I can't make this up. The transformation card just came up, basically saying that there's going to be some movement. And where this movement comes from specifically is there's going to be some old pain, some old trauma, some old shit is really going to rear its ugly head. And first you're going to think like, oh my gosh, I thought I got over this stuff. But really what it is it's coming up to come out, because you're breaking a cycle. You're finally at the end of the lessons learned from this thing. And this week, that's actually going to be the beginning point, the starting point of these kind of old, I'll use the term demons or ghosts, but these old lingering things that have been coming up and needing to move on. Align your life. That's what's coming up now. That's the purpose. It's sending you kind of the clarity. It's sending you the validation that this is not to hurt you, like we were just talking. This is to align your life. This is to bring you onto your next vibrational path. And you don't have to worry about those things you used to worry about before. This one is no. I love this. Literally no. Wait, postpone, pause, say no. So this is a time of transformation for you. And because it is a time of transformation for you, wait on things. Wait until after you're done with things. Wait until after you're growing. Wait until after you've like really taken the time to introduce yourself to new things, because you might be approaching things the way that now, the way that you always have, or you might assume you're going to be the same person. You never know. In the span of a week, things start to change. So there's going to be some new things that pop up to align your life, and kind of some old lingering things that kind of want to stay like the same, like, oh, I'm just handling this. Basically, the universe is saying, align yourself and say no. Say no and let yourself kind of like cook a little bit here. Your next one is the ever unfolding rose, cracked open. It's happening for you, not to you. So this is also an indication of transformation. So that's why you can't take on anymore. That's why the no is coming up, because it's like you're going to be doing so much self-development that you're not going to be able to take on things outside of you and not feel overwhelmed by it. So it's just actually here to help you. That's all it is. This one is deep replenishment, retreat, rest, be held. So again, this has to do with the no. So basically, you might be a person who wants to always maybe keep going, keep doing things, just keep the engine going. But with this Mars in retrograde and Mercury going into retrograde, you're actually about to go into a deep period of time of incubation, and you really have to honor that and own that, even if it's tough. So you're at this week is really going to be a pivotal moment of you setting up the foundation for the next couple of months, because if you agree to take on other obligations that actually don't serve you right now, then you're actually just going to make it difficult for yourself in the long run. So take your time, pay attention, take an action item this week. The action item is pay attention to what old shit is coming up that you need to deal with, and just be like, okay, I'm gonna deal with this shit. I'm not gonna judge myself. I'm gonna deal with it. And also pay attention to things that are coming up, like, hey, so and so, can you do this or can you do that? Pay attention to that and make some changes and some adjustments so that you don't take that on, especially those obligations that are going to be in the next month to 2 months. So here are your guardian presence, Bridget, which is don't back down. So again, this has to do with the no. So if you feel like, oh, well, maybe I can just do it, Do not take it. Do not pass go. Do not connect. Collect $200. Literally, this is for your greatest good, okay? Stand up for what you believe is right. So as you're having this cleansing experience, you cannot take on anything else. Bridget is here and basically saying to you, if you do it, it's going to be harder on yourself. And you might think that like, oh, no, I'm not going to think about it. I'm going to just do it, get it done real quick. Don't at all do that. Your second one is compassion. So there's a great level of energy and compassion for yourself during this time. And as these traumas come up, being able to look at this and not wanting to escape. So wanting to kind of take on other stuff usually is a sign of escape, wanting to escape having to deal with it. But basically the energy that is coming from universe is that you need to just relax and have compassion towards yourself, towards this healing process. The next thing is infinite supply in reverse, which is indicating that you need to be reminded that you have an infinite amount of energy, love, and supply within yourself that you can access at any time. So this period is actually going to remind you of that. It's going to remind you of that unconditional love. It's going to remind you of all of these things. So this is what the week is setting up for you. It's saying like, hey, you're going to be reminded of this infinite energy just flowing to you, and receive it, and you're going to work on it a little bit. Next one is bright future in reverse. So that's it's going to signify a delay in what you really want unfolding, simply because you just need to work on stuff. So that bright future, yes, it's coming. You're going to get to the other side. Don't feel like you're not going to get to the other side, but there's going to be a delay. So expect delays, and that's not a negative thing. That's just keeping it real and being realistic. And leap of faith. And leap of faith is basically talking about this entire period of time. What you're going to be experiencing requires a lot of faith, a lot of understanding, and a lot of trust in yourself. So you're going in deep to heal some stuff, but the requirement is that you have faith. So we get a sense of everything is actually going to be okay in the long term, but it's in reverse. So you might feel in the week coming up that things are popping up that you feel like, oh, I don't know if it's really going to be okay. Let me take this quick action somewhere else. No, everything's going to be okay. It's just going to be delayed, and you're going to be working on this stuff. And the Fool card is coming up. So the Fool card is basically saying like, you kind of have to be a little bit naive as you're approaching this. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to feel like, you gotta like overthink it or anything. Just go in with a open mind, open heart. Have that compassion to healing towards the process. Next one is Hermit. Again, the cards are saying to you, universe is saying to you, you need to take this time to yourself. Honestly, don't even agree to anything. Like literally take this period to yourself, because if you do not do it, you will not ascend in the path that you're trying to. Your soul will not make its revolution, make its full circle. The universe is telling you, you have to stay inside as you're doing this to yourself. Work on yourself. You cannot take on any new projects. You cannot take on things with other people, and you will be, because this came up straight across all the cards, you're going to be tested. Things are going to pop up, and the first time you say no, you're going to feel good. Second time you're like, oh, I got this, and then something is just going to look so like tantalizing. It's just going to look so great. You want to say yes to, say no to it, and you're going to thank yourself next week. In the Knight of Pentacles, which is talking about kind of looking towards this path of security, of financial security, and really wanting to be determined and have a path towards those things, but security as a whole. So in the end, you are going to get a sense of security once you work through all of these things. But this, I feel like, is an indication of something that's going to pop up during the week, that you might be tempted to say like, oh yeah, I'm going to work on this because I think in the long run, it's going to give me a sense of security, when it's just like, be patient. Better solutions are actually going to pop up. The King of Pentacles is going to pop up, not just the Knight. And Ace of Cups, again, it's the same thing of compassion, of having patience, of having love, of taking a leap of faith. This is actually an emotional time for you, very much so. And going into Libra energy this week is giving us kind of that space to be loving towards ourselves and be patient towards ourselves as well. The Knight of Wands. So you're going to want to take an action, but take an action on internal things only. Don't really, because as you see, the Knight of Wands is actually going towards the direction of the internal and less on the direction of the external. The High Priestess, this is the second time this card is coming up. So we had the Priestess over here and we had the High Priestess here. It's just a sign of transformation, and it actually might be guidance too. So if you're going to therapy or seeing a therapist or a life coach or something like that, or having a mature figure in your life, whether you are that person or you are being that person to yourself or someone else is, listen to that. This is a very transformative period of your time, and you want to do it right because you're setting the foundation for the next couple of months, if not the next couple of years. Page of Swords. So this is about being swift in your thoughts. You're crafting, what you want your entire mentality to be, and what you or how you want to go forward in what you're doing. And so having patience here and being strategic, because your thoughts really lead your feelings. You typically don't feel bad and then start thinking bad. You might, if you have like a tummy ache or something, you might feel bad and then start thinking it, but usually it's the opposite way around. Bad thoughts usually lead to not feeling good. So this is actually some work you're going to be doing during this period of curbing the negative thoughts that you have inside, coming to a higher, more positive state of mind. Two of Pentacles, again, the balancing of security. There's a lot of financial stuff that is deeply rooted, financial issues, financial setbacks that you've always had, that is deeply rooted in whatever you're going to be, whatever this emotional trauma stuff that has always come up, that is finally reaching the end of its cycle. That is why you're not getting to where you need to be, because of this. And if you do this work, these things will be in reverse. Nine of Swords, it indicates that these things are things that you spent, you're up all night thinking about. Just, it takes up so much of your energy and of your time, and you really want to be over it. That is the indication of whatever this trauma is. You really want to be done with it, but it becomes so overwhelming that it emotionally starts to take you down. But the Chariot is here to remind us that, you about to plow through this shit. You about to get to the other side, and you have to be a boss about it. You have to be the Page of Swords, where you're very strategic and very okay, I'm at the beginning of how I'm going to change these thoughts, and the Chariot of saying, we about to do it, and this is what we're about to do, and we're about to go through and get to the other side of where we need to go. And the Ace of Pentacles. So all of this Pentacle stuff, and it leads to the Ace of Pentacles, because there's going to be a new way or a new approach of how you approach your feelings of security, your sense of security, your money, all of these things like this. This is going to be the new thing that pops up to you because you do this work. So the important notes here is that you got to take time to yourself. You got to do this internally. You got to say no to any of these new things that are popping up. If you have old obligations that you're finishing out, let that finish out, but do not agree to any new things, and deal with whatever this is. Don't try to run off and be distracted because you don't want to deal with it. Deal with it because it is actually deeply tied to whatever this sense of not feeling secure is popping up in you, in your energy, in your chart. And because of that, a new way of feeling secure, a new way of financial security that is not tied to this, that is different, that is best for you, is going to pop up. And then your final card is the Five of Swords, which is an indication that you need to pick and choose your battles, meaning you're going to have to walk away from this scenario, and it's not going to be, lilies and butterflies and roses and things. It's, you made some hard decisions. You're going to have to cut some things out, whether that's people, whether that's mentality, whether that's habits. That's what the deciding factor for you is going to be in this experience that you have enough strength to let go of this toxic behavior. So toxicity is the most important component that's coming up. So looking at the entire reading as a whole, I'm seeing that this deeply tough thing will and can move forward. You have everything indicating that you actually will transform your life. The hardest thing is you're just going to have to make tough decisions. You're going to have stronger boundaries on how you do this. So in the next upcoming week, a lot of these things are going to start to flicker, if not all of this beginning to indicate that these things are coming up for you. So don't be overwhelmed. Actually, at the end, there's some great transformation, some great security, but it's going to come with a little, bump on the road. But the reason why you're finding this out now is so that you can prepare as best as you can for that bump on the road and not take it personal, because you could, without this knowledge, easily have perceived it as something negative and then gone into this downward spiral instead of it being a preparation for your overall transformation. So use this and take this knowledge and utilize it, okay? And just know that the universe is working for you. So see you next week for the next prediction. Subscribe.